There's a there's a lot popping out. Did you watch the trailer?
I did actually. Is it on the state of the play? State of
Yeah.
play? So I do remember seeing. Oh, let me see if I can back it up. Watch that. Shit.
Yeah, right here.
Understood people playing D2 on PS4? I could not tell you, man. Could not tell you. If they are, they're not playing PvP, dude. I'll tell you that much. I would say those fucking those dudes in the fucking cyber town are sick actually.
Yeah, those dudes are pretty sick, dude. Especially when he was like, not all of us have lives to just throw away, basically.
Yeah, essentially saying guardians are pussies because they rely on having multiple lives. Oh, this right here I thought was kind of crazy. The fucking if you saw that, it looked like the traveler fucking loaded up and attacked a fucking call, launched it. You know what I mean? You see that right
Yeah, that thing
here?
was dope.
What the fuck, dude? The hell's this, man? Get this shit off my screen. What is this, man? That thing was actually pretty dank. Uh,
Where would you like to start?
oh, at the top, man. Top to the bottom, huh? That was the little Lightfall trailer. Oh, Sammy, I didn't feed Spike.
Mm-hmm.
I will after this,
The
man.
it basically just, I mean, this is just the PowerPoints of what they're covering pretty much. So, get ready for the new Lightfall trailer. Did you read the bringing challenge back to Destiny? Crucible updates going live with Lightfall. New details on mod customization, loadout, guardian ranks, and accommodations. A preview of the season 20 artifact perks. An update on the legendary campaign. Witch Queen free weekend kicks off today. Um, Prime Gaming rewards reminder. Update from our beautiful Destiny support team. Some of our community uh, outstanding creations.
So there's been a lot of stuff released this last week, fellas. Obviously, this is a new trailer. I don't know, man. A lot of the with the last few seasons, uh, the hype around Destiny for me on its own has been dying more and more. Um, I don't know if hype is the correct word for how I feel about Lightfall, but I feel more like I'm a little excited for the Strand stuff, honestly, and the new raid. Uh, it does seem like PvP is just gonna be a shit show, and there's no it's not changing anytime soon. Some of the changes that they put in there were whatever, man. So uh, if you played competitive PvP, they talk about some of the changes that are going on for PvP this next season. So if you reached Adept or Ascendant, you can now place in the Platinum division in your initial placements for next season. So I guess you have to grind less for that. So that's cool. As well as there'll be less Rift and Showdowns. So they put a whole paragraph here. I skimmed it a little. Essentially, it's gonna be 60. So it should be about 66% of the time. It should be survival, and then the other 1/3 of the time will be Rift and Showdown. I think the only real maps. Uh, they also go talk about what maps are getting removed. So Disjunction and Cathedral of Dusk have been removed entirely from the rotation. So you're never gonna play those in comp. To a degree, it's kind of a W. I mean, those were just too big for 3v3s, but they were the only maps that I felt this Rift was good in. So next time you play Rift, it's probably gonna be closer to like what were the two maps? There's like Pacifica
Bannerfall.
and like Bannerfall. So
And then what's the Vex map? What was the name in D1? It's a D1 map. The one where it has that little like stand sitting in the center where B is. That was another Rift map.
I don't remember.
I can't remember what it is.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It was like Pantheon in D1.
Yeah, there you go.
It's what called Convergence.
Yes.
Ah, yeah. In my opinion, those three are kind of dog shit for Rift. I think if anything, they should have kept the longer ones for Rift. But what do I know, man? I just play Trials. But overall, they're increasing the maps being like Javelin, Endless, and Altar for the competitive division. So in a way, I feel like it'll be healthier for the game. So when you do get Rift or Showdown, you're not gonna have such shitty. When you do get Rift and Showdown, I think you will feel more shitty than you did before. Because I think Disjunction was a little more fair. Same with Cathedral, just because of the distance that people had to travel. With the other maps, the distance is way too short. I wonder if they adjust the draw time or the revive time or something. But that's just gonna make Rift feel shittier, in my opinion. Um, they're also giving you the ability to gild your glorious title by reaching the Adept division, as well as a number of other Crucible triumphs. And this next thing, did you see that?
This actually got me a little excited right here.
So they put this whole paragraph. I'll read it. Hey, I honestly I skipped over it, but I should be reading some of this stuff. It says exotic armor pieces can be just as critical to your PvP build as your weapons or subclass aspects or fragments. A popular move has always been to have a powerful neutral game exotic on during PvP while your super is building, then swap to a super enhancing exotic once your super is full, then swapping back to a neutral game exotic. This tends to favor players who have higher end PCs and can get in and out of the menus faster. And we generally don't want to encourage a bunch of menu gameplay during action. We also find it an uninteresting way to gain an advantage in PvP with the prevalence of build swapping that can happen with loadouts. We thought we should squash this issue in high-end PvP. So, in Season 20, we're introducing the not swap modifier to Trials of Osiris and Competitive Division. So, in activities with not swap, if you change your exotic armor during the match, all of your ability energy is removed, just like if you swapped your subclass. So, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Hey, this this is gonna be real fucking. Hey, every one of my builds, I swap every single time. one round I'll be running Antaeus, one round I'll be running fucking shoot throughs, one round I'll be running fucking Heart of Inmost Light, and I just keep kind of swapping. And then another round fucking run one shot shoulder charge. So to me it's a hard nerf to that, but I think it's kind of needed.
Yep, 100%. I mean, and the one thing I at least have to say that I kind of like is they didn't, even though I like to lock loadouts and trials, to be honest,
Yeah,
uh, they didn't immediately jump to that. I mean, because
locking
they
it.
could, yeah, they could, they said, okay, how could we get it where people aren't, okay, hey, now guys, I'm gonna, you know, swap to, insert exotic here for my super. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Can you play
so
around that and use your super and then swap to it?
yeah, you just lose your grenade and your melee.
Yeah, so
It's
let's
not
say
the,
you're playing a Titan with the smash, the striker,
Mhm.
regular striker, and you use your super, and as you're falling, you switch to the helmet that gives you damage resistance, overshield. Does that work?
You could do that, like you can change to the Crest of the Falling Star while you're in super, but the problem is you're still in
No, I
super.
meant it's not crest.
Oh,
It's
the
the
Eternal Warrior.
yeah, the Eternal Warrior.
Yeah, you could swap to the Eternal Warrior. You just lose your melee grenade and what do you call that thing? The shield, the Titan Barricade.
We'll see how that goes. I don't think a lot of I don't think most people would do it though.
Nah, because you know the thing with people is they're not going to be like, oh, they're not going to. I mean, because think about how crucial that is. You use your super, right? You go, you're okay. I got my super. Give me a second. I'm gonna swap over real quick. So you go in, bam, you go to swap over, and the next thing you know, you use your super. Well, now, unless your super somehow regenerates your abilities, or even getting kills or whatever, but let's say you don't have your shield back or grenade or melee, and you're still on kind of that timer,
Hmm.
then what? You know what I mean? And it keeps those people. I think the other thing too that is irritating people is that more on the hey, we're a fire team of two and we get a solo or guys that are playing solo or whatever, is it never fails that you'll have a blueberry that'll be in their menu all the time. This chess piece didn't work. These arms didn't work. Oh, I heard seen someone on the internet say that the Falcons was the best, and I'm still getting killed. And it's pick what you're going to use, either build into that or figure it out. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so yeah, I'm kind of excited to see how that plays out. And like I said, I am kind of glad that they didn't go straight to the block loadouts because people cry about everything. But I do think that that's going to be an interesting change because it's going to it's going to kind of. I mean, there's going to be people who are like, oh, my grenade cooldown is still going to be 20 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, but there's going to be those people who are going to be like, oh man, lost my grenade. Oh man, I'm not getting my grenade back. But also, people are forgetting they are going to be making changes to abilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it may not be the way you thought it was.
Might still
We're
be like longer cooldowns or some shit like that, eh?
yeah, because they're definitely like they said before, they're definitely going to try to get the ability spam in PvP down to closer to that 20th anniversary edition. Where your abilities weren't as just outlandish. You know, so do
Also,
do.
hey, for any of you guys worried that these PvP nerds always ruining all our fucking shit in PvE, fret not. They're said right here they're not planning to add it on any PvE modes. That's it. That's it, man. They're not planning to adding it in any PvE mode, so you can do your lost sectors and swap exotic armors all you want.
Yeah, but most high end activities are locked anyway, so it's kind of
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, but it'd be a little annoying to be like, I'm doing a fucking strike or some shit, and I just lose energy for no reason. It's like, okay,
yeah. This is actually one of my kind of favorite changes is the passive artifact. The seasonal artifact has been with us for a while now, and we have adjusted its functionalities to better suit how you face some of the most challenging activities in Destiny 2 and to spice up the meta a bit each season. We're making several improvements to it in Lightfall. starting with the following. Artifact mods are now artifact perks. These are passive and you don't have to slot them into armor pieces. Once you unlock an artifact perk, it automatically applies to your guardian. 12 perks are unlockable per character. You can reset the artifact at no cost any number of times, that's awesome. The
Hmm.
anti-champion mods featured on the artifact can also be overcharged in higher difficulty activities. To accommodate these changes, Artifice Armor now has a unique mod slot that grants 3 additional points to a character stat of your choice. This change is retroactive to all Artifice Armor.
Okay, that
So,
answers two questions. So for you guys who are P brains like me, I honestly thought that the +3 was +3 to every stat. It's actually a +3 to a very specific stat that you choose. And then I was wondering if I should farm the Artifice Armor this season in case, sometimes Bungie delays the changes and you have to refarm Artifice Armor. It sounds like it will change all the Artifice Armors that you've ever dropped as well. So you don't need to worry about God rolls that you had. They'll have the Artifice buff retroactively.
which is very exciting. Especially it says a character stat of your choice. I'm really stoked with that. And the reason I say that is, let's say you may not have the most perfect piece of gear. Let's say it's a 61. It has 2 of the stat lines you really need. If I'm reading this right, so you can actually run a 3 and a 3. So let's say you run mobility on that same piece, and that helps you get that triple 100 build, or so on. You know what I mean? Because you're getting 13 instead of 10.
Yes.
So I'm
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really really excited about that because I have some armor that I really like, and the stat rolls are stupid high. And I'm like, man, I'm so close to getting, quad hundreds, having that build just so it's like, I don't ever, that's it. That armor's done outside of mods or whatever. Um, and now that I got some artifice, but I definitely do want to do at least a run with Kaido to get some artifice armor and stuff, you know,
Sir.
uh, just because her artifice armor drops hella high. The artifice from the regular dungeon, it's all over the road. I mean, I got like a 63, 64, and then I got like 259s, and I'm like, what? Dude,
Yeah.
59, bro? Like, come on, man. Come on, man. This next stretch is super exciting. Just to see how things continue to evolve in the build crafting.
Wait, so
Oh, good.
in the next like area, like the column 1, column 2, that's they're already releasing what's going to be in the artifact for next season. Is that what's happening?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, uh, anti-barrier sidearms. Your equipped sidearms fire shield piercing rounds and stun barrier champions. Additionally, sidearms are always overcharged when that modifier is active. Anti-barrier pulse. Your equipped pulse rifle fire shield piercing rounds and stun barrier champions. Additionally, pulse rifles are always overcharged when the modifier is active. Overload bows. Uh, damage by fully drawn arrows from your equipped bows disrupt combatants, stunning the target, delaying ability, energy regeneration, and lowering combatants' damage output. Strong against overload champions. Additionally, bows are always overcharged when the modifier is active. Unstoppable scout rifles, aiming down the sights of a scout rifle for a short time, loads a powerful explosive payload that stuns unshielded combatants. Strong against unstoppable champions. And then, of course, the overcharge when that modifier is active. Uh, Automatics overload. Sustain fire from auto rifles and submachine guns, disrupt combatants, stunning them, delaying ability regeneration, lowering combatants' damage input, strong against overload champions. So not too bad. I'm always a fan of Unstoppable Scout, and like auto, the auto for the overload, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, when I was reading it, it felt like a lot. Like just they're just copy pasting what's already been said or like how people are used to using it. Literally, the only thing that you should that's new that most of us are probably gonna be like wondering what this means. The overcharge modifier is like some of the nightfalls will have like overcharge on certain things, right?
Hmm.
And then whenever it has the overcharge at all, that specific gun with that perk that you just picked will also be overcharged retroactively. Um, so let's say just real quick, let's say you bring anti-barrier sidearms, right? Whenever you go to a GM, you'll have the overcharge buff, which is what, like what did it say, like a 10-15% buff?
25.
25. Okay. So
So
just
yeah, so if it's so the weapon for that week is say sidearm overcharged,
yeah,
then you're not only getting the stun, but you're getting 25% more damage from that side from your sidearm.
but I thought it's always overcharged as long as you have the perk active.
Yeah, no, the gun. What I'm saying is, uh, from your sidearm, you're always going to have the perk if it's overcharged for that GM or whatever legend lost sector, whatever it is. I'm just saying that so it'll stun, but I'm just saying on top of you stunning it, you're getting the 25% buff. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't feel like a lot is changing here. It just feels like the weapons that aren't here aren't going to be meta for that season, other than the ones in the modifier. So it might have like overcharged grenade launchers or some shit. You could probably have like a grenade launcher and run one of these mods that has a 25% damage. I'm pretty sure in a few twabs ago they went over like what the overcharge changes or the changes to the enemies were. Um, take a look at it later, but yeah, let's
I don't even
get
know if it
into
was a top. I think it was just one of the ones where they dropped like, hey, this is the because they've been dropping almost like 3 articles a week.
yeah.
I think it was maybe last week's article. Upping the challenge, maybe they gave it a little bit more description of like what the bonuses were, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Uh, but
Yeah,
underneath
here it
this,
is. My bad.
no, go ahead.
It was from last week. Overcharge is one or two weapon types per activity, as well as any selectable anti-champion and other perks also make those weapons overcharged. An overcharged weapon can ignore the surge element and still get the plus 25% damage bonus. As they said before, you can't stack the surge and the overcharge, so if it's like a surge of kinetic damage, they'll get the 25%, right? And if you have like an overcharged sidearm that's also kinetic, they don't stack.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. There's one other thing I'm gonna look at, but I'll when I find it, but
Um, the next column is actually super interesting because all it's basically saying is the authorized mods for Solar Strand Void grenades and multi-siphon mods uh, are basically are at a significantly discounted cost. So armor energy for all the mods affecting your strand, solar, void, grenades, and grant the access to armor mods in your helmet that combine the effects of the strand siphon mod um, and void siphon mods.
so what are the siphon mods, by the way?
So there's two abilities that can siphon: strand and void.
Well,
Right?
it says here solar as well.
Where? What does
Yeah,
the?
it says right here solar siphon mod.
Oh, there you go. I guess it does solar.
Is that for
So
the thing that creates orbs or what?
I believe so.
Ah, yes. Okay, that's what. Yeah. Okay.
Um, and I like how it says, grants access to the armor mods in your helmet that combine the effects of the strand siphon mod with solar siphon mod and void siphon. Um, I also like that it says the armor genie costs for all armor mods affecting your grenades are discounted, and then void weapons, strand weapons, solar weapons are all discounted.
So
So,
with all this stuff, you know, it's pretty straightforward. If you have like a solar weapon, it has like solar reload speed. That's what they're doing now, right? They're switching it over to the generic mods. So
hmm.
like
Well, these
solar, void
here,
are reducing their costs if you have the perk active.
I think it's just reducing the cost to your armor mod. Like when you slot it into an armor mod, instead of saying, solar weapons, Whatever you're using to affect your solar weapon, right? Whether it's say damage boost or anything, right? They're just instead of them being a 3, a 4, a 5, like rockets.
Yeah,
Crazy thing is the rockets. What is that? The blast one.
like 5.
Yeah. So those are the ones that are going to be significantly discounted because there's no more armor affinity. First off, for void, arc, whatever. But they're dropping that down so you can get into build crafting a lot more heavy. You know
Wait,
what I
this
mean?
means you can run the that fucking rocket launcher mod that costs 5. It would cost less then.
Mm-hmm.
So it's called Argent Ordnance.
Mm-hmm.
In theory, instead of 5, it should cost 4. Let's say we don't know how much they're reducing it by, right?
Yeah, yeah. We don't really know. Um, I like. I honestly think it's going to be like a 3, possibly even a 2. Uh, they're really trying to dive into the build crafting even more, and we'll even get more into that as the different columns as we go down, kind of really open that up. But uh, I
So,
honestly think. Oh, go ahead.
Owen was saying if he's basically saying this means I can rock bow targeting on my boots. I don't think the targeting mods are getting changed in the locate. They're not going to be in multiple locations per se. It's going to be generic ones, right? So it's going to be let's just for example, like when D2 came out first, they had kinetic reloader on your arms. It wasn't like a specific one. You didn't have hand cannon loader or like a LMG loader or whatever. It's just gonna be like kinetic, solar, void, strand, stasis, that kind of stuff.
Um, I honestly, I'll be honest with you. I actually think that
But they're gonna keep the single ones too.
yeah, I think they're still gonna have targeting. Like you're still gonna have bow reloader and targeting and all that stuff because that's still part of the build craft. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's if they're eliminating anything, it's gonna be some of the weird ones. Ones that they're just like phasing out, like war mine cells, stuff like that. I don't think that they're gonna take away reloader and stuff like
No,
that.
I'm not saying that they're taking them away. I think they're reworking them essentially. So if you have a targeting mod, right, you have to have a stasis targeting if you're using the stasis bow. Is what I'm saying. So I'm
Oh,
pretty
okay.
sure
I
that's what
I
they're
understand.
doing,
Yeah, yeah.
rather than having a weapon specific one. So you'll actually have to adjust your build for this very specific one that you have, right? So let's you can double stack up on like solar weapons. So you can have like galley, and let's say you're running the strident whistle. You have solar reload, right? It might be as well as like the heavy ammo finders. I think they're getting replaced, right? If I remember correctly.
Say that again.
The ammo finders aren't they getting reworked? I gotta look at the mod stuff again, but
Yeah, I don't remember what they said about. I can honestly say I don't remember what they said about the ammo finder part of it again.
hmm.
And to be honest, like I don't even use them anymore. Like I don't use any kind of ammo mod finders anymore because I realize not using them and just swapping over to a primary or a secondary or a heavy usually pops out both.
I will say I still fucking use them. I feel like a lot of the times that I still miss out on some heavy, but I'm one of the people who has been an avid user of special ammo finisher and like heavy ammo finisher. But I'm pretty sure that shit's getting
Oh, those
reworked too,
both.
right?
Well, loosen finisher is basically, you know, replace the heavy ammo finisher in my opinion because you're not losing super energy. Special ammo finisher is not bad. Like that's always been a solid one, but definitely I wouldn't be surprised if they're reworked.
I'm pretty sure the finisher ones aren't gonna take super energy anymore. They take armor charges. Remember reading that? I remember reading that. Yeah, here it is. On socketing chest arm can increase. Frick, dude. Some mods consume one, two, three, or all stacks or armor to trigger particular trigger, granting instantaneous benefits when they do. Well, Yeah, so essentially, it should be taking an armor charge whenever you do a finisher, but I don't know. I'd have to find it again. Oh yeah, here it is. Finishers will now consume armor charges to not dip into your super energy. So if you want to do a special ammo finisher, you need to make sure you have at least one armor charge. I think.
I would say that's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I found the thing where it said that. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty dank, honestly. The PVE for Destiny is looking pretty good. I'm actually really excited for that kind of stuff. Uh, the thing for the grenade things, I wonder how that's gonna be. For the grenade mods, like Kickstarter is probably gonna be the thing, right? And like Grenadier, is that what it's called? Bomber for the reduced cooldowns with kickstarts. Probably like ashes to assets. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking cool, essentially mod discounts that are gonna be happening this season. So if you use any Strand Void Solar, you're probably gonna be eating good, man. So Monarch users, just saying, man.
Monarch users.
Rise up, man. We do have a stasis bow coming this next season. I don't remember if they released any actual info of what it does. Does anyone remember? Do you remember, Daisies?
The stasis bow?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't really released a whole lot of anything about it.
Oh,
As far as like perks or how you get it or any of that, they just showed a picture of it.
Owen says no info of it. I checked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see how it does. If it's a combat lightweight, its accuracy on, the accuracy if it's a lightweight, and then the draw time if it's a regular precision frame. So, whew, this next column is usually kind of like I don't really look at the third column honestly. I don't know what the fuck.
So
More recently.
this one here is actually really interesting because there's a lot of things in here, especially doing high end stuff, day one raid stuff like that. And I want you to this is the kicker: shatter orbs. The first time you break a combatant's shield, you create an orb of power if you break the shield with the matching damage type. Now, we all know that knights and the fallen dudes and some other, I mean, the scoring guys have them,
Yeah.
and they regenerate their fields relatively quickly. So let's say we get into trouble, we have to pop supers to save our run or damage phase, and then guys come out, and we could farm these dudes to pop orbs.
Or orbs.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they're going to be small orbs, but you're going to get the multiplier for the crit hits, and then you're going to get the shield break. You know,
Yeah.
so that's kind of cool. The Defiant Armory, which I really like as well, greatly improves the benefits provided by the Noble Deeds, Nanotech Tracer Rockets, Text Balance Stock, and Ambush Origin traits. Now, some of those are actually not bad. Um, if you actually look at like some of the tech stuff, see if I have one of the text guns on me here.
I think it's the voids the
Here we
little
go.
yeehaw scout, right?
Yeah, here we go. Damage targets while firing from the hip, increase handling, reload speed, and movement speed while aiming down sights. Upon scoring 4 hipfire hits within 4 seconds of each other, handling 20 reload speed, 0.9 reload duration multiplier, and then 5% ADS movement speed penalty.
Oh, you're looking
So,
that up on light.gg?
no, I literally have dim up and just hovering over my own scout rifle.
It does that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that, actually. All these years after using it, and I did not know that.
So the
I wonder what light.gg says.
and then when you look at it, what's the other one? Nanotech tracer rockets.
That is the new this is a new strand specific perk. So like incandescent or like volatile rounds is gonna be the I don't know, the strand nanotech rockets. They showed a video of like an SMG having it last week.
Yeah. hmm I ambush. That's from this season.
So, what the so what they gave us with the information they gave us, that it was a balance stock, right, or the ambush text balance stock is the one that you were looking at, right? So it's technically going to be better, right? I think the numbers that they gave us before essentially doubles the effective effect, right?
Yeah.
Like the raid weapons have their own origin trait. That's and that thing gets buffed by it's a 2 times buff, right?
Yep.
Runneth over. So you, in theory, you should be able to. It should be twice as good as it is now, right?
Wait, runneth over?
No, text balance stock. It should
Yeah,
be
yeah,
twice
yeah.
as good.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
essentially, you should get plus 40 reload speed instead of
Yeah,
plus
it
20.
would make sense. Well, it says greatly improved. I should say this. The verbiage is greatly improves the benefits
Mhm.
provided by. So I couldn't. I don't want to say it's a double up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if they say greatly, let's say if it's 20, let's say it's 30. You know what I mean? Like to be more on the cautious side of things, because it's really hard to say. Um, to really say, oh yeah, for sure it's going to be like that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
the one to really kind of keep your eye out. I don't know how many of you guys went and farmed your retrofit escapade, but if you actually look, um, the ambush trait improves range handling and damage against combatants during the opening moments of an engagement. So glaives, the machine gun, I forget what other uh, seasonal weapons they had there. I'll have to go back and look again. Uh, I know there was something else there, but so after not dealing or receiving damage for at least 5 seconds, 20 range, 20 handling, 10.78% increased damage against PvE combatants, and linear fusion rifles only received an 8.8% damage increase. Buff activates for 2 seconds after dealing or receiving damage.
2 seconds sounds
So,
like a little bit, but honestly, when you're actually playing the game, 2 seconds is quite a bit of time.
mhm.
Like if you think about it from a PvP standpoint, the TTK on really on like the best weapons is like zero point 0.5 seconds. So having 2 seconds of damage buff, a 10% damage buff is kind of crazy.
It's true. Very true. So there was the linear fusion, fire and forget, retrofit. There was the glaive. The passive least resistance. That's actually interesting because it also has the ambush trait, uh, origin trait, and
What's
like I
that?
have one with. That's the one I was talking about where it's
No,
one of the
I
other
mean the
one.
gun. I mean the gun.
Oh, it's the arc trace rifle that you can get bolt shot on.
Oh,
Yeah, so if you're out of combat for at least 5 seconds and then you start doing damage and you get, a 10, like almost 11% damage increase against PvE, and especially if then let's say you jolt that target and you're hitting them with bolt shot. So that could be interesting in that first initial engagement.
oh, I never got one. Oh, it's the season pass, right?
I think can't you do the battle heist, dude? Isn't the battle heist open for you to
Nah, I
do?
can't do it. Oh well,
Oh,
that's so good. It's a pretty dang. I think I do feel like trace rifles are kind of underappreciated as far as like PvP. Uh, yeah, I can lie. Divinity and Cold Hard kind of go crazy.
well, they got a buff a while back, and then oh, okay, cool. But then once the void season went away, and you didn't have that void trace rifle that was just clapping stuff left and right, then the next hot item comes in, right? So the next hot item is whatever the next hot item is, and then people were saying, oh, okay, that's cool. You know, oh, okay, solar, okay, solar was cool. Then it's on arc, and but you know what I mean, like. Once they say, "Oh, we're taking X away," then it's kind of comes and
Mm.
goes.
Whether it
Um,
actually gets nerfed like hard or not,
Yep.
People will just, oh, it got nerfed, and they'll just look for something else.
Mm-hmm. Because then somebody else, oh man, the next, they just introduced X, and this is the next, whatever, and then I can't believe that guy just killed me with divinity, ha ha ha. Which is funny. It is funny, especially being that people forget that if you hit someone with divinity, not only are you doing damage, but you give them the cage, and if you guys hit them with, a limp arrow, you're doing bonus damage.
Yeah.
You know, man, I
And
can't believe he one shot me. Well, you kind of been debuffed. You know what I mean? Like with
yeah,
the
so
oh, good.
yeah, so that'll be just the passives, the origin traits getting buffed next season. Do we know what Noble Deeds is, or is that a new one?
It has to be a new one. I'm not really sure what that is.
Oh, well, I'm gonna lie. Hey, the next thing, Untangler, is
That looks cool.
I don't quite understand it actually.
So
Yeah.
so let's say that you throw a grenade and your grenade's sitting there, right? Let's say you have that green ball, like the green deal, right? And you shoot the green thing with your strand weapon and you explode it. Uh, it suspends targets damaged by the explosion. So it's almost like you have the green ball. Think of what are those things? War mine cells, right? The green war mine cells.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just sitting there, and there's an enemy there or enemies, and you shoot it, and as soon as it hits them with explosive damage from that little green ball you shot, it suspends them with strand in the air.
Ah, okay. Because when I read it the first time, dude, every single time I read any of these things, I always think PvP first. So in my head, I was like, if someone goes in PvP and they make a tangle, right, and I'm on the opposite team and I shoot them, would the tangle proc on the enemy that threw it? As long as it does damage, right?
As long as it does damage to them, yes, because you got to the verbiage here targets.
Yeah, it doesn't say combatants. 'Cause combatants are more
Mm.
like just PVE stuff.
Yeah, so it says targets, so it's not, and it also doesn't specify enemy targets. It says targets.
Oh,
You
true.
know what I'm saying? So, so
It'd
yeah,
be.
it's like hitting yourself with your own grenade.
You think so? I don't know if Warmind cells when you blow them up, they don't do damage to you, do they?
No, no, no. But
Yeah.
strand is such kind of a different thing because you create strand kind of from yourself, like the way they've explained it.
Hmm.
So I think what it is whatever the tangle originally is, if it's a leftover grenade, if it's something that you throw out, like I think that's the part of just figuring that piece out. Once that piece of information's out there in the world, and people are like, okay, here's a good example. The Warlock, Arc Warlock has that little jolt ball they throw out for the melee, right?
Yeah.
So think about it like that. Think about that little ball shoots out and it stops, wherever it stops, and then you go to shoot it, and whoever's damaged by the explosion, damage, which is the other key perk there, and then it suspends them. So I mean, nothing funnier. And I honestly, I know, I hate to say this, I think that would be funnier than shit in PvP if you literally have it there, just kind of floating down there, and you're gonna see like the red. Let's say it has a red aura like the grenade, right
Hmm.
around it, and people are around the corner, but it just happens to be around the corner where you know that if you still, how grenade will go by the edge of the corner, it'll still hit you, right?
Yeah.
You may not die, but it'll hit you. I think that would be funnier than shit, bro. If it's right there in the corner and you shoot it with the strand weapon and it explodes and suspends them in the air and you snipe their head off, that would be the best ever, right? Or they're hiding around the corner, just enough damage pulls them up out of their little spot they're hiding in because it does damage to them. That would be great. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah,
I
and
know you're.
with the strand stuff replacing Warmind cells, well, this might be like the best way to clear odds when it comes to it. Like a strand
I I
SMG.
I really do. I think the Strand SMG. I think some of the boots that you're seeing, some of the other things they're adding to the game, and how Strand seems to work. I'm really excited to get my hands on it. You know what I mean? Uh, what's really funny is when they showed Stasis back in Beyond Light, I was like, that seems kind of cool. It was a little cooler than I thought. I mean, freezing things was pretty badass, but the visual, because I'm way more visual. That's why I think I'm really hyped about the neon and the aesthetics of Neuroma. But to see things dangling up there, like, you know, oh no, I'm stuck. I think that's going to be hilarious.
Oh, you know what? With all the new added effects, I wonder if people's computers are gonna get blown up.
No, I don't think blowing up. I think they're going to have to go through and realize where they really need to optimize their PCs. Like I try to clear so much of the fake files and stuff like that. That's why I usually load and run most of my games through the uh Raisin launcher.
Yeah, but like a lower end PC might struggle with all the new fucking visual effects and stuff, even at lower
Yeah,
settings.
yeah. Because
Yeah, that's what
eventually,
I'm saying.
yeah. Well, my PC and your PC is not far off. Just saying.
About the low end?
No, I'm just saying like how me and you match up as far as parts for parts.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm just saying, yeah, anything below us, if there's someone's running an i3, they're dead.
Oh,
You might as well just go buy a PS3 or a PS4.
that's what I'm gonna have to do.
You don't have an i3.
I have an i5, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know our parts are real similar. I think it's just that I think my RAM speed's maybe a little higher, and I think I have more cores in my i5 than you. But I know that we're pretty close to identical,
Yeah.
except you
If
have a bigger hard drive.
there you have a Ryzen, not Intel. Oh,
Oh,
Ryzen 55 Hundo.
I like how Bro comes in.
How does he
Uh,
know though? How
and
does he
taps
know, man?
Bro comes in and taps the sign. Like,
He
make me tap the sign again.
says I have a Ryzen 5 3600. Yeah. Oh, that's right,
Oh,
huh?
oh yeah, mine's actually better than that, but
Yeah. Mine isn't. So, hey, for
great.
someone who,
No,
you
you'll
know,
be fine.
hey, still, man, hey, with streaming and having all the effects my computer has to run, I'm a little weary about it, but I'm sure it shouldn't be too crazy. I hope
Yeah.
not. They could be a bug. You know what I
Uh,
mean?
but yeah, look into the Risen launcher, bro. Like the other one. What's the other? There's an NVIDIA launcher too that helps with not straining your PC as much when you're playing. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Um, it's I'm telling you, it really is. It doesn't. It really helps not strain your shit so much.
I'm not.
Uh,
I'm not that worried. You
I
know.
know. I'm just saying.
Why can't the rookies be more like you?
You know.
Just thinking about it
Uh,
infuriates me.
see.
So
Uh,
I'm
oh,
telling
here we
you,
go. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
what's up, man? I'm
No, go ahead.
telling you, dude. Hey, next season, Lorelai's is gonna be meta, and with this solar surge, collecting a sprite gives you armor charge. I think it's gonna go. It's gonna take it a step further. So solar stuff is actually gonna be pretty dank. For not only just creating, essentially getting charged with light or generating special or even heavy. Uh, this shit's gonna be good. And with the next thing, the volatile flow together, I think you could combo to have volatile rounds on a solar subclass would be kind of dank. So the volatile
Mm-hmm.
flow mod is just picking up an orb that grants you a void weapon, and then shattered orbs together, dude. When you break a titan combatant shield and it matches, you also get an orb, so you'll have free volatile rounds.
Yep.
I wonder how that's gonna work with the what's that gun? It's
The machine gun.
yeah, the LMG is so popular right now because
Mm-hmm.
it can do that. I wonder if that's gonna be what people are gonna be doing.
Uh, yeah, it's going to be pretty wild. Like I said, the more I read into these different columns, I was like, oh, okay. My mind starts working, like, well, oh, okay. And as we get down, this is where things really start you start to see that piece into effect, right? Like for your fire team or whatever you're doing. Column 4, Bricks from Beyond, defeating a powerful combatant with a void weapon has a chance to generate heavy ammo for you and your teammates.
I think the key word there is chance. I think a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, it generates heavy ammo." Um,
Yeah, people can't seem to remember chance. Like, why am I not getting heavy? It's a chance, bro. Like, it's a chance, dude.
yep. I don't.
Uh,
You know what? As an avid Aeon's user and heavy ammo finisher stuff, Aeons even says it'll always generate it. Not even the right
Yeah,
one.
no, Aeons and heavy ammo and loosen finisher and special arm finisher, those are still key. You know what I mean? Like those are still key because the thing is the only time I'm gonna use a brick, or a void weapon to worry about, say a powerful combatant. To be honest with you, is if it's a surging weapon for that moment. Let's say it's it's rocket launcher or surge or whatever it is. Then okay, I'll use it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's cool for what it is, but it doesn't mean that I'm always gonna buy into uh, the heavy ammo thing with having a void weapon to defeat, a powerful combatant. Also, is a powerful combatant orange bar or is it a yellow bar?
True.
You know,
I Yeah, actually.
I
I
mean,
think
so
it'll just be yellow bars though, for like
n-
champions.
now here's this part for the next one that kind of got me really thinking. Firebolt grenades apply more scorch stacks. Damaging a combatant with a firebolt grenade spawns a fire spirit near them.
Fire spray.
Right? Fire spite, spirit, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
It's basically the new light.
The new
I
arc
think
bolt.
I think that's Firebolt pretty slick because Firebolt honestly in PvE is kind of I don't use it.
It's
You
really
know what I
bad.
mean?
Yeah.
But if
Even
it's
in
gonna
PvP it's really bad.
but if it's gonna apply more scorch stacks, that's actually pretty massive. The scorch, especially if you're tying into scorch with your build, like that can get pretty batty. And the fire sprites can, as we continue on, are going to be, you know, they're going to be a lot of fun. That's for sure.
Yeah, I wonder how that's gonna play in PvP. He might actually come up and be meta just because of the scorch stacks. Because
Hmm.
one of the most annoying things is having things in PvP that will stop your health regen. So even if you run 100 recovery, um, getting getting burned by a trip mine, getting burned by monarch thorn, getting the delayed damage helps out a lot for the person attacking because it delays your health regen. So having the scorch stack increase and having a fire sprite would be kind of dank. Actually, it might actually make them viable for PvP.
That's if now I should say this.
Hmm.
That's if they allow you to do that, because if you can get a fire sprite that's going to give you bonus solar damage, for your weapon or whatever, uh, I don't know how because it says combatant when it says that part, so that's normally PVE.
Yeah. Oh, you're
I
right.
mean,
You're right. Yeah, yeah. It says
yeah.
combative. Yeah, my bad.
So the scorch stack period. Now that's going to be across the board.
Yeah, and then running
So,
the fragment too. I don't know how
yeah.
crazy that'll be.
Oh yeah, it's going to be with applying more scorch, emperor torches, all that stuff. Like that's going to be it's going to be pretty Syrian singeing. Uh, and we'll see. I know Strand's probably going to come out every, so it's going to be kind of annoying. My question is, like what you were saying earlier, going through the stasis meta, and when people would freeze instantaneous, there was no fight back. Oh, break, hit R3 to break, but you're frozen for 20 minutes.
Yeah, and you
Um,
took damage for trying to break free.
yeah, from the shatter damage. So let's
Hmm.
let's see how this goes. Let's see how much you can. You may not be able to ADS, but if you can at least move somewhat sufficiently to shoot, even if you're not ADS, let's see how it goes. So, like I said, is it probably going to be annoying as shit? Yeah, of course. But I'm not. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I have a feeling that I don't know how devastating Strand's going to be on the, you know, beating the piss out of you kind of thing, but definitely more of the take you out of the fight kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So
genuinely just hope it's a suspension in the air, and the downside of being suspended will be a in air accuracy. Um,
yeah, you can't like ADS, but you can hit
yeah,
fire.
just being able to hit.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. I don't know how it'll be from the end user, right? From the Obsidian, because you
Mhm.
want things to be fun and cool, but you also want it to be not so bad on the receiving end, right? Obviously, you get hit by a grenade, you're gonna take damage, stuff
Yeah.
like that. But you don't want to be able to not to fight that.
So this one here, uh, which is kind of interesting. So Origin hones weapons with noble deeds, nano tracing rockets, text balance stock, and ambush origin traits are always overcharged when that modifier is active. Which I think that's pretty slick. So when the modifier is active, uh, those are you know always on the overcharged list. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
it seems like they're just considering comboing that with the Defiant Armory one for the
Hmm.
one that improves the benefits.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, we'll just see how that stuff goes, or whether it'll be worth doing. Might have some meta stuff, right? Probably, honestly, the nanotech tracer rockets is probably what people are going to be building into with all the new strand stuff.
And noble deeds, we have to see what that is. You know what I mean?
True.
Like that's that. I mean, what is it?
It's probably
Oh,
like the race specific perk or origin
yeah,
perk.
definitely, definitely could be. Ooh, that actually in my mind ties into that video we watched. You know what I mean? So, uh, allied unraveling, rapid final blows with the strand weapon grant your weapon unraveling rounds with a longer duration near allies.
What is
So
unraveling rounds?
have no idea. They've kind of showed the weapons and they just talked about they can kind of do this and they kind of do that. I wonder if it's um, something that that one little sidearm that shoots and it kind of tracks and they ravel around and they kind of pick stuff up. I
Yeah.
wonder if it's the explosive round version of Strand, where they'll like explode and maybe suspend a combatant or whatever.
Huh.
So
It could be like the volatile rounds equivalent of volatile rounds. It's strand equivalent of volatile rounds.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So counter weave when you are a member of your fire team stuns or defeats a champion, you gain energy for your least charged strand ability. So that's kind of cool. Is this the one?
Yeah, that seems
Yes.
kind of whatever.
Yeah. Column 5. This actually is kind of interesting. Um, this one I really like column 5 as well, and I think it's a little further down. It'll explain more to this. Stranded reach, destroying a tangle with the strand creates a larger and more damaging explosion.
Oh,
So I think the green ball.
yeah.
Let's say you throw the hunter melee dart and you hit it, you get a bigger explosion.
Yeah, and it'll
So
combo with Untangler, destroying a tangle with a strand
mhm,
weapon, suspends enemies
yeah,
damaged by the explosion.
yep.
Okay, so honestly, dude, all the strand stuff is looking really good, really fun.
Yeah, it definitely seems pretty cool. Rain of Firebolts. When you have a Firebolt grenade equipped, gain a second grenade charge. See, this is where that ties into, Scorch stacks. Uh, so you're getting, if you have a Firebolt grenade, I think this is some of the new mods. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I mean, that's kind of cool. You can get a double Firebolt grenade. You're getting double the Scorch. So this could definitely be where, because the Firebolt, doesn't it track out, right? Like it launches and then it kind of like stabs out.
Yeah, it's like Arc Bolt, but more delayed.
Fire. Yeah. So I
Well,
think this is actually kind of cool because if you tie into this, let's say you're playing, or actually you can get Firebolts on anyone now, right? So
yeah,
let's say you're built into Scorch and Radiant. So there's like this double thing going on, and you throw your grenade and you get a tag, and you throw another grenade and you hit them again, or you hit two targets this time because you throw it a little bit further back in PvP. So now let's say with the grenade you get, if you scorch a target, you get radiant. So now you're getting radiant for you and your fire team. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely a lot of stuff to build in, potential,
yeah.
I should say. So that's kind of cool. Void weapons channeling. You gain a temporary bonus to void weapon damage after you defeat a target with a void weapon, while at least one of your void abilities is fully charged. This what damage bonus increases based on the number of fully charged abilities you have.
This goes back to the LMG, the retrofit escapade
Mm-hmm.
meta. This further establishes that void weapons are probably going to be the go-to weapons this next season. Ooh, with the damage bonus increases with the number of fully charged void abilities is kind of crazy. Because with Devour, any kills you get already reduces the cooldowns of all your void abilities. So
So
that's gonna be a little crazy.
imagine this, right? Let's just say that you're rolling, you know, osmosis on the front, and let's say you're running funnel web in the middle, right? So okay, let's say the enemy is over there. You throw a grenade, you hit the enemies, they pull in, you hit them with your now void weapon with osmosis, your primary auto rifle, you kill them. Let's say you have two of your abilities up, you now pull out the machine gun retrofit with target lock, and you just start fucking just going to town. You know, have
Yeah.
someone maybe debuff the target, so on and so forth. So yeah, it could definitely get pretty fucking nutty. Oh, and you get volatile rounds, bro. Volatile rounds on the kill.
Might be a little crazy. I think you think this might open up Deathbringer. Is that what it's called? The Void Rocket Launcher?
Yes.
'Cause
Yeah,
it's
100%.
it's already been like a pretty okay weapon, but it's not that reliable with the damage boost. I wonder if it would be more viable.
It really depends on how fast you can get that thing reloaded and up in the air, highs to the building, and then be able to trigger it to drop. Because you want the farthest drop for for the best DPS. So you're gonna have to figure out quick what angle you want for attack, and then to come down. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Also, there's a lot of good void rockets out there. You know what I mean? So
True.
there's other things to really tie in. Also, I think the reason why they're nerfing linears is because I'm gonna tell you right now, linear fusions, especially void now, the way you're seeing stuff for the build crafting come in, could have got really nasty, bro. Right? Because the
True.
damage bonus increase based on the number of fully charged void abilities. Let's say there's thrall left, right? Let's say we're doing the raid, and let's say there's small score, and each of us take out the SMG. We now smoke the dude with the SMG. We now have volatile rounds. We now have firing line, void linears, and we pull them out, and we just start going ham with the Vice Stinger perk. But each of us have all three void abilities, but then we debuff the target, say with the tether.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it could have got rough real quick.
And
You
yeah. Yeah, and they're so easy to use too. It would have been crazy. You talk about the linear fusions, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bro, I wonder. Well, yeah, Blue brought up Leviathan's breath. I think with the changes that they're doing, I wonder if it'll be more viable than it is now, because it's getting an increasing damage for champions. But I think it's because they want it to be more of a champion killer rather than an actual DPS, right?
Yeah, but the thing I think Leviathan Res could definitely do some serious DPS for sure. I think the biggest issue I have with Leviathan's Rest is how many rounds I can get off. Like I would have to sit down and compare damage with, say, my target lock, retro, or rockets, or whatever tied to like how many shots I can get off with the visor breath with the damage buff.
Yeah, yeah. Retro's probably gonna outperform it every time.
So, but I think definitely what the problem that I have with Levi's breath. So they actually showed video of what this thing was supposed to do, or what they originally they had to tone it down from, because it was like they shot the ground, it literally like launched all these enemies off the cliff and in the air, and then they dialed it way back. When they released it, but they've slowly, okay, catalyst, okay, we're gonna, do this, and Blue's right. I think that it could definitely be an option next season, 100%, especially with some of the void changes.
Yeah, it's also gonna have built-in volatile rounds on perfect draws, so bonus damage for no reason.
Yeah.
So
I think what we're. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, no, you good, man.
No, you're good, man.
Oh, well, with a lot of the changes with what they did to glaives and swords, glaives and swords, this medieval champion, right? So I guess it gives them more of a reason to be using this. So it makes it so glaives you wield fire with explosives. So it's going to be unstoppable for glaives and overload for swords.
Hmm.
Um, I don't feel like I've seen that many glaives anymore with all the changes that they did, huh?
It's the same thing. You don't have a seasonal artifact mod that made glaives fucking stupid fun, right? The glaive during the seasonal hunting was arc, and it was pretty nutty. You had the glaive that for a lot of people, really funny in actuality, that would not drop for them in Val until
Yeah.
like way down the road. When Solar 3.0 was launched, and then people didn't have the Solar Glaive because the only Solar Glaive at the time was tied to Val, but people didn't really know how to build into it.
Mhm.
And then the same thing, the mod that was on your artifact moved, so people switched weapons and said, glaives are still cool, but it's not what it was when it was Unstoppable Glaive, right? When it was, the artifact mod where if you have a glaive on you, you do bonus damage. Not that you're using the glaive, but it just was on your person,
Yeah.
against the, you know, bigger enemies and all that stuff. So it's just the same thing. People forget about these weapons, and actually, thanks to Blue, I would have never crafted the glaive coming up with enhanced incandescent. So he was like,
Oh.
"Oh, the glaive next for this next season, the seasonal glaive next season's gonna be nutty, man. You should craft it." And I was like, "Oh, I got some good glaives." And then he was like, "Man, enhanced incandescent's gonna be good." Okay, you sold me. Like, okay, you know. So, crafted it up, been working on getting it up, leveled up and stuff like that to get to that point. But um, but like I said, with Blue and with you and other people, like own everyone constantly like thinking about. It doesn't have to be the same meta stuff that people are telling you. Okay, glaives are done because we don't have the artifact perk, or the glaives are done because of X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
You know,
I
well,
do. Yeah.
and remember they fixed glaives because for a while, Syntho steps didn't work with glaives, other stuff didn't work with glaives. Uh,
True,
necrotic
they
grips,
buffed them to work with all the melee
yeah, and
exotics.
necrotic grips. I'm telling you, people are. Me and Blue talked about this the other night. I hope, and my fingers are crossed, that necrotic grips, glaive, and strand all kind of somehow meld together, because I think that could be stupid fun. You know,
Mhm.
honestly, you know,
Yeah,
uh,
and it just stacks with all the melee damaging stuff. So Worm God Caress, is that something that people would run with it or what? For those someone doesn't remember what Worm God Caress is, it's super left over, right? Not you don't see many people run this, but it increases melee damage for a short period of time, and additional kills extended duration, and increases effects. I think you get up to times 5.
yes, grants burning fist on melee kill. Burning fist lasts 5 seconds and grants bonus melee damage. Now here's the deal. It stacks up to 5. It goes from 80%, 170, 390, 520, 650.
650. That's kind of crazy.
So now you tie that in to, like incandescence and stuff like that, or void, or whatever, because obviously this really truly tied to a subclass, and it's on. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I wonder. I wonder
and
why
then
we
what's
haven't
the
seen more of that, man.
so then also where is it
The
here? Really?
last column 5 one looks sounds kind of nutty. I'll let you read that, man.
Yeah,
Come on.
this is the one that I was like, it really. So tying it with the void, tying in with all this other stuff, and I like how you don't have to have a subclass for the void weapon deal or solar or whatever. When you cast your super, each member of your fire team with a subclass damage type different than yours gains bonus to weapon damage. I love that. I absolutely love that because if you're let's say there's only me and I don't know JT or Void, right?
Mhm.
Everyone else or JT's Arc and I'm Bubble. But everyone else is like, some kind of solar or arc or whatever, and I pop bubble. So you get to run through my bubble, and let's say that now you're getting bonus weapon damage on top of that, plus with whatever JT hits it with something. You pop your so you're getting bonus damage from me, and we're getting bonus damage from whatever. So it's like, I mean, yeah, it could be fun.
No, it doesn't say it has to be like everyone has to be using a different one. Uh,
No, we just
one,
have to be
yeah,
more selective. So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
if you know, and
Like if all
honestly,
of us could be running like Void, and then one person run well,
yes,
right? And then the well
exactly.
person uses it, and it gives buffs to everyone that's using it.
for the
subclass, which
weapon.
essentially
Yep,
is void.
yep, it's the weapon damage. So
Ah,
then we can debuff with tether because now well and tether stack.
yeah.
You know, so on top of that, then we're coming off with just bonus weapon damage, bro. Like, I mean, this could definitely be a lot of fun, bro. Like,
Yeah, they don't go into details to say if it's a stack. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, you get a 1 times, 2 times, 3 multiplier. I wonder. It doesn't say it, but it'd be kind of crazy to have multipliers based on how many other different subclasses use it. So let's say
I
you have one person running each subclass, right? We'd have times 4. You know, if everyone's like Thunder Crash, Nova Bomb, well, Strand Super, right?
the
So
problem is there's
like,
always going to be a double. Well, no, Strand now, yeah, with Strand, I guess you
yeah,
wouldn't.
and a Stasis, Silence and Squall. You know, like if it could stack up like that, that'd be kind of crazy. But I don't think that's how it works with just the wording. It seems like it's just going to be one person.
Everyone,
Essentially,
like, if you pop well, because we're all running Void, we all get our own individual weapon damage stack.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, that's just an additional, and then someone pops tether and the thing, and so we have the tether. I mean, yeah, it could be
It's how the kids say, freeload, man.
free loading. Uh, free loading. The next part actually kind of made me excited because it gave more of you don't have to just be running, X mod to make this work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In our Build Crafting Evolved article, we stated there will be new ways to counter champs in Linefall. After showcasing the signal weapons you'll use to do so, maybe we should refresh that information and throw in 1 or 2 more details, right? You can use an exotic with an anti-champion intrinsic perk. Ariana's Vow, Divinity, Life, and Breath are 3 examples. You can use weapons that have anti-champion artifact perks. You can also use subclass verbs and status effects. Barrier champions, radiant, volatile rounds, unraveling rounds, right?
Yep.
Overload, jolt, suppression, slow, unstoppable, ignite, blind, shatter, suspend. The verbs work no matter how they are triggered. 2 examples. If you are radiant because a solar hunter used an acrobatic dodge near you, you will shoot anti-barrier rounds until the radiant wears off. If you use a weapon with chill clip perk, the slow effect upon direct hit will stun overload champion, and the shatter upon a second hit will stun unstoppables, bro. That's why chill clip is going to be an absolutely nutty setup, bro. While Radiant, though, the same weapon would pierce a barrier champion, but not stun an overload. Exotics,
Okay.
yeah, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
do, if you're Radiant, you can't do both.
Mhm.
Exotics with the anti champion status effects get the pierce effect when applying Radiant. One example Aegir Scepter will slow and stun an overload champion, but not pierce a barrier one, even if the player's Radiant, which I do kind of like. You're not pulling away from the exotic. And
Mhm.
then of course you're not making the exotic too strong because trust bro, we know how stasis works on barriers, bro. Like, can you imagine that? Aegir Scepter, slicing a barrier with the stasis freeze and all that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's an exceptions for weapons able to scorch, since ignition requires buildup in order to stun. So man, you hit him with a grenade and then you hit him with incandescence, and it's on, dude, for sure.
Okay, this is actually really good information to know, man. I think with the way that they've been doing like the anti barriers and stuff, it's been super been pretty boring. If you know, with these changes, it makes them really fun. I think it lets you build into something more crazy rather than having like, oh, you have to be running like an arc subclass with the arc mod, right? Like this
Hmm?
season, it was like, what's
All 3 had one. Everyone had one.
it?
So,
No,
or was it just Arc? It was Arc Stasis
Or
and Void
I don't know,
and
something with a G.
something else.
it
'Cause
was void and stasis for disruption, and then arc and stasis for unstop. There's only 3 compared to like the 5
yeah,
different ones,
yeah,
or 4.
yeah. And I love the verbs where they're like, hey, look, you know, each one of these, if you blind, shatter, and suspend, right, or jolt, suppress, slow, or uh, like that shatter, all that stuff. That's why man, like chill clip, bro. Chill clip is so nasty, bro. It's
Yes,
one of those.
sir.
It's one of those perks that's definitely going to be huge. You know.
Yeah, and honestly, with all these changes, all that shit's gonna be
Uh,
in general like the fucking stunning the champions, man.
And like you said, like having tons of options. Like I don't want to have to run a pulse rifle all the time, right? I don't have to run. It's like it's fun. I like the weapons I have. The rocket launcher and the scout rifle, and then running arbalist. That's cool, but I shouldn't always have to run those, right? I should be able to, use the verbs to say, oh, barriers, radiant, X, Y, Z, whatever, volatile rounds, stuff like that. So definitely excited to have other options. You know,
Yes,
uh,
sir. That and yeah, fuck double primaries for anti-change weapons. Yes, dude. Oh
mm-hmm.
my god, that opens up so much.
100%.
So for those of you guys having doing the with the Lightfall campaign when it comes back, this is information on that.
Whether you're a solo player or in a full fire team, there's no wrong way to play Lightball Pain. We know you all loved the legendary difficulty that debuted, Witch Queen. And I have to say, I had a blast doing it. It was fun.
It was actually fun.
So we wanted to talk a bit about how it will work in Lightfall, with the goal of balancing challenging survivability across all fire team sizes, 1, 2, and 3. Legendary difficulty scale based on the size of your fire team. Incoming damage, damage required to stagger an enemy, enemy health, and the amount of revives are a few of the things that scale on legendary for each additional member of your fire team. In the Lightfall campaign, we reduced the health scaler and combatants to better balance solo and fire team play when compared to last year's legendary campaign. Enemies will still have more overall health in larger fire teams, and the Cabal in general have higher base health than other combatant factions. Once I knew that, they are tanky. And this will help bring solo and fire team difficulty closer together. Additionally, the damage required to stagger combatants is reduced during the Lightfall campaign. Make no mistake, the Shadow Legion and their new technology are extremely formidable foes, and we're not even going to talk about Tormentors. So eyes up, Guardian, because it won't be easy.
So with that being said, I think the only problem that I had with the campaigns, right, the difficulty, is when you played with 3 people, everything was super tanky. They became so tanky that it became more
Unfun.
efficient to either solo or duo. Then it
Yeah.
became you had to split into groups of ones or twos or not threes. If you did threes, you were just hey fuck it man, playing with your boy. It takes way more time and it's like you said,
Two.
not fun.
One, but that's also why I liked where they did this, where it says enemies will still have overall more health in larger fire teams. But even within that being said, it said in Lightfall campaign reduce the health scaler to better balance solo and fire team, and then of course enemies will still have more overall health in larger fire teams. And then of course, but this will help bring solo and fire team difficulty closer together. Additionally, the damage required to stagger combatants is reduced during the Lightfall campaign. That actually makes me happy. My biggest complaint about the Witch Queen is if you're 2 people, perfect. 3 people got a little like that. The amount of ads in some of the missions were like, holy shit, right? Like, okay, this is annoying. But it's the some of the ads that you would hit wouldn't stagger, and you'd be like, you hit them and they get pissed off and they chase your ass around, and all you're trying to do is kill them.
Yeah.
So
And as well as what Blue and Owen were saying, like solo does feel a little too easy. So I wonder if they up the difficulty on solo to make. You know what I mean?
yes,
So I'm kind of honestly, dude, the campaign I'm pretty excited for. Stram's going kind of crazy. I had to go pee, but I don't know about this next. I gotta go, man. Oh, mama. So, on the last bit, free Thorn World tours this weekend. We're making all the content included with the Witch Queen Standard Edition available for free. Here's the exact timing, so it's already out. It's already free. So hey, I don't know if someone bought Witch Queen within the last week. If you did, oh mama, that's kind of crazy. Unfortunate. Uh, Prime Gaming rewards. They'll go away on February 27th, just before Lightfall launches. And then the last thing is just Lightfall is going to have a 24-hour downtime before it releases. So on February 27th, it's gonna be down 9 a.m. So if you have anything to do, end of season prep or things you gotta get done, make sure to finish that shit before the 27th. Otherwise, hey, good luck. That sucks, man. And here's the storage requirement. I think it's gonna be like 84 gigs. Install size gonna be 102 gigs. Oh, that's for PS5. Whoa! Alright, hey, if you don't have 102 gigs free on your PC, go ahead and start deleting games. You know, I would never be one caught having to delete video games to make room. So yeah, man. Make sure you have enough storage on your consoles and your PCs, man. Because it's gonna be a big one. Is Daisy still here? I ain't gonna lie, I'm not looking at the movie of the week stuff. Hopefully, there's something cool in there. I don't know. I don't usually watch them, but as for state of the game, hey, hopefully, if you were here when it started, you got all the information. You read with us. Uh, there should be another state of the game next Thursday, but that'll be after Lightfall Fall comes out. It'll be on the 2nd. Again, me and Daisies will go over whatever Twabs is up, whatever information they got. And if there isn't a Twab, then we can just talk about what's been going on during the week, man. There's gonna be a lot of grinding happening, bounty prepping, and honestly, if I can min-maxing stuff. So if you guys are interested, we will be talking again on next Thursday. Yeah, man. Hey, 6 p.m. PST. We'll be streaming it again. Right?
5 PST.
5 PST. Should be 6 my time, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, hey. Dude, I keep forgetting you're an hour behind, not an hour ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Hey. Thank you guys for hanging out. Daisies, any last words?
Man, just enjoy next Tuesday, and I'll be on probably about 10 or 11 a.m. for a short period of time, then be back in the afternoon because I have to pick up my kid and all that stuff. But yeah, man, enjoy the rest of the week. Get your bounty on or whatever it is.